What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? It's your boy Adam Perez. I'm back, baby, once again with a brand new video review. As we're gonna get into something a little bit different here and talk a little Doctor Who. For those of you who don't know, I am a pretty big avid Doctor Who fan. I unfortunately have not followed the series in a couple of seasons, honestly. I think the last season I fell off was maybe Peter Capaldi's last season, and he was probably like my second favorite Doctor, right behind David Tennant. I missed the whole Jodie Whittaker arc, unfortunately. That's something I definitely want to go back and check out for myself personally. But I am very excited and looking forward to seeing who the next Doctor is certainly going to be here after the 60th anniversary specials that we certainly have lined up. Now, we've got three specials that are going to be dropping here this month. Last week, they dropped special one. I believe this upcoming Saturday, they will be dropping special number two. And then the following Saturday, special number three as well, all in turn to go ahead and celebrate the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. I mean, it for me to wrap my head around the idea of this franchise being around for as long as it has is just an accomplishment in and of itself. I know it was on hiatus for several years until they rebooted it, I think back in 2005 or 2006. And ever since the reboot, I've kind of been on board with it. A little brief history. My stepdad used to watch a lot of Doctor Who. He used to have it on in the background. Not something that I was immediately drawn to until I got a little bit older and really appreciated just the sci-fi elements behind it all. And I eventually found myself doing a ton of binging and going through several Doctors as well. I don't think we've talked about Doctor Who very much on Hero Report, but it certainly is something that we probably should. If we get more contributors or content creators to our channel, if they're big Doctor Who fans, maybe we will talk a little bit more about Doctor Who for you guys here. But enough about the background. Special One dropped over on BBC last week, as well as Disney Plus. I think they've done an amazing job of making it easier for people to go ahead and watch Doctor Who here in the States. I mean, look, I think if you have cable, BBC is probably pretty accessible for you guys. But look, if you're a cable cutter and you need a home to check out Doctor Who, or Doctor Who's a little bit difficult for you to find, Doctor Who will now be simulcasting over on Disney Plus as well. And that's where I personally got the opportunity to check out special number one, as we have ourselves a returning David Tennant, who is by far my personal Doctor, honestly, and a returning Catherine Tate as Donna Noble as well. Now, look, when it comes to Donald Noble, this honestly was not a doctor and companion combination that I was a really big fan of at the time when I first watched it. I just found Donna super obnoxious and loud, but it is one of those things over the years I really have come to appreciate her. And I think it's because I've come to appreciate Catherine Tate as an actress, as a comedian over the years, and seeing her in other television shows. I think she had a time in The Office and things like that, and other series and movies and whatnot. And Catherine Tate has really, really grown on me. So the idea of not only are you going to have me back, like anytime you say David Tennant's returning as Doctor Who, I'm watching. But the idea that you bring back Donna Noble as well, I was even more intrigued to kind of see how this combination was going to work this time around after all these years. Would she still irk me the same way that she did? And honestly, not at all. I thought she was golden here. Like Catherine Tate to me had some amazing monologues and just some emotional depths that she tackles as Donna. Just this idea of knowing that you sort of had another life, but you can't quite put your finger on it, right? Like something's been taken from you ever since the doctor wind up wiping her memory, not allowing her to remember, since she wind up taking in all the power of like the Time Lords and things like that. So a lot of too much power for one person to handle. And I think Catherine Tate as Donna in here just really navigated the personality of Donna extremely well, but also at the same time able to add a lot more depth. And to really just see what the time between her and the doctor really meant, I think just went a really long way. She's always comedy gold. I always find the comedy in Doctor Who to be very clever, very smart, and hilarious at times. And it just feels like, especially when it comes to somebody like a Donna Noble, especially in here. Anytime you get her around the doctor, it's going to be chaotic and chaos. And I think they handled it extremely well. And I really had a fun time with this special. I truly did. So, guys, let's really dive into this a little bit, because Catherine Tate really blew me away in here. I think she really helps elevate this. David Tennant as the doctor. I mean, do we ever need another doctor? Honestly, I'm actually a really big fan of how he's of his return. The beginning of this, I think, is a really great sort of prologue to get you familiar once again. Like, if you come into this special without having necessarily seen the the time period of Doctor Who with Donna Noble and the Doctor, I do think that the prologue, the intro in here of having Donna and the Doctor explain sort of the situation that they find themselves in leading up to the moment in which they see each other again, I think it's pretty well handled in regards to getting you on board. You may not understand the full emotional depth of it, but I think they do a pretty good job of at least getting you on board and started with the special. It only comes in at about like 59 minutes, so it comes in under an hour. So I do think that the pacing of it is actually pretty fun. I gotta say too, visually, this special looks stunning. Again, it's been several seasons since I watched Doctor Who, so I'm not quite sure exactly like what the production budget or what the production level has jumped up to over the years, but this really blew me away. I mean, I'm talking as cinematic as it comes. I don't know if it's just the way that it's being streamed through Disney Plus or whatever, but it looked magnificent, very clean, very crisp, and that new theme sequence, that new intro sequence that we have is just magnifique, honestly. There is like, while I've always enjoyed the intro and stuff, this time around there's just an added depth that they kind of bring to the time traveling sort of element, if you will. The spatial area in which they're in just seems so much more vast, and it really feels like the TARDIS flowing through these timelines and these different eras and things like that. Like, it looked beautiful to me. The beat hits, the intro hits, it definitely worked and got off to a great start for me, honestly. I think the story is pretty good. The return of Russell T Davies definitely can be felt in here. I know him and David Tennant, I believe, are pretty big advocates for the LGBTQ community, and I thought they did some amazing work in here, certainly as activists or at least as storytellers, in regards to the overall story in which they're kind of telling. I don't want to get too much into it in case you guys want to see it for yourself and not necessarily be spoiled or anything like that. But I do think the trajectory, especially with like, how do you get Donna out of this situation, right? Like, if the idea of Donna seeing the doctor again, or at least her remembering, brings back all these memories and could potentially kill her, how do you sort of write yourself out of that particular situation and leave it up to Russell T Davies to always come up with just a brilliant methodology of explaining things, allowing it to really make sense and just fit into the world of something like Doctor Who. So the idea of Donna having a child and that power sort of passing down to her kid, who's now officially considered non-binary sort of after all these years, right? And really kind of elevating the identity of the doctor in the sense that, like, there's really no constraints to what the doctor can certainly be, and to be able to see that expressed beautifully using Donna's child as well, and to just really showcase just how fluid things really are when it comes to Doctor Who. Like, if there's any world in which this should be comfortable for people, right? The idea of transgender and things like that, the world of Doctor Who is probably as comfortable as welcoming, I should say, as you could possibly feel, because they just made everything make absolute and perfect sense in here. I thought they did a really incredible job. The Meep, really cool design as sort of like the cutesy new figure or doll that certainly might come out. Didn't really care for it when you wind up getting to see the other side of him and things like that design wise. But I think Russell T Davies, David Tennant, and Catherine Tate really brought their A game in here, and it really shined for me. I think the design of the TARDIS, especially on the inside, is a great homage to the classic inside of the TARDIS, with a very much more modern flair. there. But I think it's slick. It looks gorgeous. Everything about this special just reminded me why I love Doctor Who, why I come back to this series from time to time, and why I want to continue to get back on board with it. So again, I think the ability to show a very inclusive group of people, I think really went a long way of showcasing to everybody that you can be a star, you can live in these imaginary worlds and be safe and feel normal and fit in perfectly well. And I think Russell T Davies, especially with this special, just made that more clear, certainly, than ever. But again, doing it in such a way that does not feel forced, but makes extreme sense to the storyline in which they're telling. And I think you can't ask for anything more beautiful than that, honestly. So really great time, great action, hilarious humor, chaos when it comes to Donna, and incredible performances if you ask me as well. So overall, I was a really big fan of Special One. Can't wait to see what they do with their next two adventures, if you will. But look, if you had the opportunity to check out this special, let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions, but I always want to know your guys, so let your thoughts certainly be known. Certainly be respectful, courtesy to everybody else's comments and things like that in the comment section. But if anything, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it on this weekend's episode of A+ Hero Report. But until Sunday, guys, I'll certainly talk to you later. But until then, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.